Welcome back, The Face of Friday Night. Peter Kivazo, your host, with me, Charles Romshana, Richard Baguma, and David Pulko. 100 years plus of the police force in Uganda. Richard says that they live, that they survive as an institution is in itself good enough because they didn't suffer infanticide. And I ask, what else would they have done? I mean, what was the choice? The choice was to live. Charles, you've had a bit of feedback from the viewers and you've listened to David and Richard. One of the viewers says, by the mere fact that you have 3 generations of police commandants, and actually by talking about Irinai or Riema, you actually talk about even a different generation, a further generation down the line. So possibly 4 generations of police commanders. He says this in itself is an acknowledgement of diversity, is an acknowledgement of generation appreciation.
One, when you see those pictures, did you see Katumba get a medal?
No, he didn't get a medal.
Why?
He's a commander of the UPDF.
No, he was an IGP. Why? Why didn't he get the medal?
The medals are earned.
Oh.
Yes, you earn it. Or so, I suppose.
Point number 2, a generation of 3 IG, a generation of, because you have displayed 3 IGPs. But if you look at them, there are 2 terms. 2 terms of the president. I don't think they are more than 10 years. Those 3. So
John Kosi Odomel was way...
Yeah, there is Kisembo. There is also Kisembo.
Yes, there was Kisembo. This one doesn't mention Kisembo. So we have 4.
Then there is a problem. So don't we have IGPs during Obote between 1980 to 1985? Don't we have IGPs during Amin between 1971 to 1979? Even if they are not alive, the mere recognition, at least even to know.
Well, they recognize the Rinayo Oriem.
No, but I mean, you are talking about Rinayo because of he was the founding, I think the first
native,
first
yes.
black, the first native. But anyway, the celebration, other than the celebration, you look at a beautiful woman, but who doesn't want to bathe? She's beautiful, but does not bathe. And she uses very good Vaseline. She has hair which is Chwani. You know Chwani hair? This hair of some people who died in Europe, in Asia. It's well combed, it's glittering. She has Vaseline.
For your information, that hair is actually grown and exported as a business.
But
it is not of dead people.
But at least it's Chwani hair. It's Chwani hair. I don't know where the nursery bed is. But it's Chwani hair. It's not our natural hair. And it looks good. But the constant that the woman has not bathed. But the woman is conscious that because she has not bathed, she has the other order. She has to be very crude that she's going to smell somehow, and then she uses perfume. She's on the road. Very exciting, but has not bathed and looks good. You have that situation. When they are preparing for Kororo, what happens in Imbarara? 2 Ugandans are shot dead at the gate. Because that's one of the most extreme forms of crime. That you are supposed to retaliate. But it's not someone who shoots and runs away. No. This one shoots a volley of bullets. Because those have been close to it say that the vehicle must caught fire. It was not 1 round, 2 rounds, no. They took their time in Mbarara, in town. Not in the periphery, no, in town. They shoot it and those are dead. But the next day you are preparing for a celebration. Those are 2 lives lost. I don't want to go through the chronology of what, to list those crimes like the Webaja, where you go and hack more than 40 various homes, you have time to yourself, and then you go.
Mukono too. Mukono too.
The Mukono is a different. So you've been having those murders, but you have an image being propped up as a very good image. But what is the output? The output is a proliferation of crime and more deadly crime and organized crime. But emphasis is not on intelligence to obliterate that crime, not in mobilizing the population to help you fight that corruption, that crime and curb it, not in investing in curbing that type of crime, but in propping up an image. Now look at police confronting the new, in this new paradigm of demonstration using pigs. You saw the other painted pigs, yellow in color and with a hat. What was the first reaction of the police? They came on them to arrest them, capture them, which is good, but using bare hands. Bare hands. Now, but the other day you bust a terrorist cell, and I'm assuming, because intelligence works on assumptions, works on scenarios, and assuming that this color, assuming in the pig, is a chemical to hit the police. Assuming that this was an agent to deliver a problem that is sent at the center of the city. And then you are now, but here when you are in display, you show us very good equipment. Some of this equipment, by the way, it would even take you a year to study them. It's like those pads that you use.
The iPads. You know, pads is very controversial sometimes. The iPad.
Those pads that you use. Whether they are ear, whichever. I'm sure that they are called pads. So the equipment they use is good, but when it comes to operations, you will find someone is holding a pig. You don't know where it has come from. You don't even have intelligence about it, and you are lifting it with open hands. When you see them going to rescue kids who have been dropped in the toilets, how do they go in? They almost go in without protective gear. Yes, we don't have time. I would have even go in incident cases where one almost corrupts there. Now, the second one, I saw the president address a crowd in Entebbe, where they were welcoming him for whatever reason. But between me and you, we know how that crowd was generated. I've been doing studies, I've been doing research, I've been doing consultations to find out the main structures of the organization and of the systems were not involved, or were in the periphery. But some people met at Katkati, took 1 or 2 glasses, announcements are made.
Of water.
Announcements, of course, you know what they say in Katkati, I don't think it is Bushera from But announcements are made, and here the president is facing a crowd, because they're talking about VIP. You know, VIP is not having 4 civilians, because some of these fellows are experienced, for moving along an armored car. In any case, he's already in an armored car. It's far beyond that. It's also about reading how a population has been brought, who has brought it. That mafia that has made a shortcut entered through his defense and has brought a head of state, the VIP. And
the pigs are right here.
These are your pigs.
Yeah, those are good. Now you go and touch those things with the bare hands. You don't know where that paint has come from. Now then you bring a head of state. He's addressing those kind of crowds. You haven't even defined those crowds. Who is going to account in case of a problem? How do you show me where you have gloves? They're not there. Bare hands.
Oh my God, no.
Bare hands, yes. And he's going to put in a truck where many people are going to sit. You should be having a specialized thing. So how do you account? How do you account? So now you have a head of state is addressing a crowd you have not defined. You have people you have not defined who are cooking food. The other day, there is when the president was coming again from abroad at night, and he found borders, and he got out to wave at them. So and when you go to study, it is not the formal structures. It's not the other neck. It is not the chairman of C5 who have an address, who have a CV that you can track. Some people, I don't want to mention their names, and you remember one of them talked about them. There is when some lady was complaining someone, he says, but there is some group of people and defined them, but for peace's sake, let me not go into their definition.
But I can also say that she used an error word to define them. Okay.
Now, then we go to what is the mandate of the police? in what situation, in what paradigm is the police operating? Police is operating in the paradigm of the collapse of the Luwero consensus. You know, the way they were in Luwero, they had an agreement in the high command. So as long as they had consensus in the high command, it would go in the NRC, NRA council, and then it would go in the NRC, it would be sold to the country, and it would become a national consensus. The high command consensus collapsed, now it is the family consensus. But unfortunately, there were several families building. So you have the Amama Baba's family, and with Nina, and Jacqueline. Then you have the President Museveni family, Honorable Janet Kataha, and then you have Muhoozi somewhere, then you have Sam Kutesa somewhere. So you have families. But their consensus again also collapsed after killing the Luwero consensus. Now even this family has now collapsed. And therefore, you have the eviction of Amama Mbaba's family, Nina, and then attendants, the Chikire and the others, and the Abbas is also packed somewhere. So where is the police positioning itself? Now you find police is not positioning in the consensus of Luwero and the High Command and the NRC, it is positioning in the victorious family. That's the other danger.
They are standing at the center.
No. You see, that's the problem, that the pressure is too much. Is too much that the other one, when he's saying His Excellency, he also puts Muzei, as we are discussing it this morning, but with a different direction. In other words, all the center is about the president, is about, that's why you see the display.
Because of the PGBization of the police.
No.
PGB.
Because in your philosophizing about the police, you miss certain basic elements about this force. You're talking about a force where possibly all of us here at this table will have your cell phone. If there was an attack in your community, you would call and you would get a 99 delivered within your community.
On what?
Off your cell phone.
Yeah,
He talked about.
Let's be fair, Charles. That would
Just
happen.
improved.
I have been to Mulago Hospital on a night at the casualty ward. And they are unsung heroes of the police. Of course, that pickup should never work as an ambulance. But those guys, every single minute at Mulago Casualty Ward, are delivering injured people. And they are doing a service. And they are doing very well. You're talking of the police because Richard asked, how do we feed this institution? They are sleeping here next to us in the Guru Mobile Power.
The rank and file are working.
And it's a pathetic condition.
The shitting
but
of
they wake
the
up
senior
every
people
day to ensure that
keeps them
Charles
bad.
has no traffic jam on the road. Charles is secure to be delivered where he is delivered. If Charles calls at night, there will be a patrol within the next 31 hour within the precincts of where you live. Shouldn't you really have some courtesy of kudos to these chaps?
No, you see, you are talking about chaps. Are you talking about chaps or you are talking about policing? I thought what we were discussing was police.
Of course, that is policing.
Yeah, policing. And me, I'm talking about the challenges. I'm talking about.
Carry on.
Actually, I was talking about the challenge. I'm not talking about the deliverables. You see, I saw the Speaker of the Republic of Uganda in Busoga fighting jiggers manually, dipping feet in I think some oil or some paraffin, doing it manually. The Speaker of the Republic. But is the Speaker of the Republic supposed to do that, or she's supposed to do it through policy?
Policy.
Yeah. So you. But when it comes to delivery, you can sympathize. You say, really, the Speaker of the Republic tried. We should have kudos, and I don't find any problem with it. I don't find any problem with it. You have a point of having a traffic police officer on the road. Of having a 9-9 operate in very difficult situations. Yes, but I'm looking at the challenges that are impacting heavily on it. So, because you see, the IGP, who was not necessarily from the military, did not have primary contradictions. Now you have the IGP, and it's becoming a fashion from the military.
Like it happens in Kenya, like it has happened in Tanzania, like
those
it has happened elsewhere in the world.
Examples. Those are not good examples to copy.
But in Tanzania,
except if you are saying that police being manned by its professionals. So in other words, policing for who
for you and
and against who? Now, so you and I have struggled that we continue to own the police to police for us. But unfortunately, this is a battle we are losing, and it is
and they are recruited from the lower segment society.
Finally, because I got some bit of look at the case of stealing, i.e. fighting corruption, and you have Kazinda, and you have
Jirimana.
The Obey thing, this public service, how the two were handled. That one is in handcuffs, but another one, because he's stealing for family B, when he is going to make a statement, he's even able, I want to demonstrate it here, to put his foot on the table.
I didn't see that.
Now you can have that revelation when you read Jeremiah 33:3, 3:33. Then you have police testifying for Nsenga in this Nsenga murder thing that she didn't kill. Who killed? But this one didn't kill. And then you have the judiciary saying, we saw where we saw the. So, is there for this police for the obliteration of crime, or it's for the domination of political space?
Richard and David. Richard, I start with you. I've listened to Charles. Charles becomes hugely philosophical. The police has challenges, without a doubt. So is this society. But can it be totally dysfunctional, as Charles portrays them? That when they do good, it is in spite of the institution?
No, first of all, I don't think that Charles has said it's dysfunctional.
Well, the description says
I think it's the
worse
way,
than that.
No, I actually think it's the way we receive the information that he's putting across. I think that what I heard was that in spite of the enormous, and he used the word pressure, to police for political domination, the police has still retained, despite what, some level of policing for the community. And that's what they profess to do. Now, community policing for which community is really the challenge. And you see, it is an understatement, a gross understatement, to say that our police has challenges. I think that's a gross understatement.
What would be worse?
Our English probably is inadequate. Because, frankly, and you know, I cannot say I am totally detached from the police celebrations. There are a lot of great guys in that force. People we have gone to school with. You
divorce the institution from the individuals. And that is where my problem is.
No. We are not divorcing the institution from the individuals. We are divorcing the institutional environment, the institutional operational environment from the individuals who operate there. And we must recognize that a lot of the dysfunctionality, that you talk about, and not because of the individuals, is imposed on the individuals. That you find, and you know, he called it organizational psychosis.
Madness.
Yes.
Say the right word, it is madness.
Yeah, that the circumstances, and you know, like human beings, sometimes the pressures and circumstances around you can take you into depression, can take you into madness. This is what is happening. A lot of the apathy, talk about these guys.
You remind me of taking high school. The madness of an entire nation.
Let me give you an example. We talked about these guys every minute taking people to the casualty ward. But let me tell you my experience with taking somebody to the casualty ward. When I used to work as a journalist, I would leave at midnight. I found a car had just overturned. I carried this person who was in the car to Mulago Hospital. Now, as soon as I delivered them at casualty, I had a government president's office, senior information officer identity card. I could be traced. I was on air. I go on air. I was not allowed to go. Questions and statements, and here I bring somebody at midnight, and I leave the station at 3:30 after calling my colleagues, after them coming. So I will not carry another casualty, which means you are going to carry all the casualties. And you see, so what happens when...
So that divorces the community from the police.
And I think for me it is critical that we define community policing and we take it forward now as professed by the theme of the 100-year celebration. I think that's the way to go.
See, I have had a dialogue with the Inspector General of Police The first one was through a quarrel. Why? Because I had problems with Ndumje. And
So who is Ndumje?
Ndumje was in Reform Agenda.
Actually, you were alleged to be part of a group that is supposed to give the police a brush.
Yes, of course. Why not?
Myself inclusive, and Richard.
I think we should give a police a brush.
Yes, briefly, so we bring in David.
Yeah, and when we meet, Ndumje was operating in the name of the IGP. Of course, later on he paraded him on TV and ETC. And the same fellow was giving orders to RPCs. Those who know him, the RPCs were, these were the issues I was raising with the IGP because he called the other officers. And Ndumje was also there, you called him. The fellow had the power to give fuel at CPS to friends. And the fellow had even power to enter the police headquarters and park close to the yard, to park close to where the IGP parks. And it was going on. So you have very many of those communities. If that's what you're calling community, those are there. What you would define as lumpens, they are there. The other define them as lumpens. And they wield a lot of power. So that the DPCs...
That one is patented.
Yes, so that the DPCs must pass information. When they veto, they veto. It's a problem. So how do we then help the Inspector General of Police? How do we help the Minister of Internal Affairs? How do we help the President to realign the institution so that it is back on the rails and then becomes community? In other words, we define the other community.
The community beyond the inner community.
The community beyond the lumpens.
Okay. Three things. One, definitely the different institutions or branches of police seems to be improving. If you look at the anti-terrorism, for example, even the way they handled the recent case is commendable. It's not the usual way they used to manage even information. This time around, I think in my view, they manage it very well. But I think we need that capability to deal with the current challenges. But then also the VIP protection seems to be improving. So that's why you say, if you're spending so much money on a few VIPs, so are we protecting the ordinary citizen? Do the citizens exist for these police, or do the police exist for citizens? Now, anti-riot police has a lot to be desired. They have the equipment, but they have become ruthless, and they think they represent the horror police. And therefore, they can still do their job, do well, but unfortunately, the police is taking the job of other ministries. Why shouldn't the Vice Chancellor Makerere deal with this situation before it becomes a police matter? Why should it a Minister of Education or Minister for what? They must first deal with it. But every little thing, police. Every little thing, police. Now, you're going to overwork this police. It's not a Kayura problem. So people are not doing their job, and they have put everything to the police. Now, their laboratory work, I think the pathologists and their doctors, they seem to be improving. Also, their fire brigade, I don't know how many houses we're losing before the fire brigade arrives. I think even in terms of their transport, their fixed wing, in terms of their armored cars, their communication, their uniform, definitely seems to be improving. But the Black Mamba thing, when the officers of court, which is police are officers of court, how can they be the ones to rep the temple of justice? Again, how can they allow military men to degrade their uniform? Okay, because you saw them in military, you saw them in a police uniform, and yet that Black Mambas, we did not create it for this terrorizing the judiciary. We created it for, in case our people are taken hostage. So do you have a force that can storm and set free those people? But now to misuse them is what hurts some of us. Now then, secondly, another bad thing is that PGB, Presidential Guard Brigade, special forces, so-called special forces, it is an army within an army. And they have taken over the police, they have taken over the military, and that's why you found a personal bodyguard of the president in the name of Chief of Staff of Land Forces going to command a lorry full in a mama's house. Do you really need the whole Chief of Staff? What point are you making? So really it's a misuse, because their concept of national security is regime security. And that's my fear, that those who have come from PGB, they are Rwanda type, the Kaihura type, the Leonard Chiendas type. There are many of them, even David Muhozi and so. This PGBization of our institutions is the one which is
Gentlemen.
killing, and then use of naked force. So if you see at elections, the DPCs who are taken around, I think are PGB, most of them, and after elections they are taken back.
Okay,
So
David, we need to get out of
treating
here.
suspects is very poor. Traffic police seems to be picking up, but why they are failing to control borders? It looks like they exist for the rest of the traffic, except borders. So
I'll
I
pause
think
you there. I'll pause you there. And Richard, two things that you think, away from what David has said, that the police is doing very well, and one thing that you think is deplorable.
For me, the first thing I think they are doing very well is to allow professionals to come into the middle and the lower top ranks. Certainly they are getting positioned, they are professionals, they are well read, well educated, and they are quite, they are reasonably firm, and they can face the public. So you need a little bit of brushing up at the top. The second thing I think they are doing well is the recognition that they have been doing bad, they want to move to doing good. The most deplorable thing for me is that at every point in contact with particularly the lower police, because they are so abused and misused in welfare, that is deplorable.
Chaz, one thing that you think must change.
They arrest you before they have investigated. And the Constitution
The
says...
IGP says they don't have enough time.
No, the Constitution says you should not stay in the cells for
Beyond
48 hours.
48 hours. So the 48 hours even erupts before they are even taken the file to the DPP. Now the question is, how about the bond? Now you can't get that bond in time freely. It is for sale. And I think that is...
Is it?
Yeah.
I thought that has improved.
It's supposed to be for free. But you see, if you want a free bond, you will stay in for a week. But because there is a market, there is Chibanda market, and you can buy it, then you get out of the sales very quickly. And I think it's a good innovation.
And the best thing about them?
That's the best.
Well, thank you very much, Chaz. Thank you very much, Richard, and thank you very much, David. We have to go. The police is celebrating 100+, and we are giving them a sneak peek into their industry and into how they do their operations. Jambo, I know I'll meet Afande Kawesa somewhere this evening later on a good dance floor. Till we meet.
Bye-bye. You say hello to Afande Kawesa.